Do you ever consider the root of everything that you think and believe to be an opinion, or do you believe you in fact know the truth? My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is the message. I had a great challenge when I was diagnosed with cancer in that I would go to the mountain every day and laugh and laugh and laugh because I feel like I've chewed on 1,000 hells in this lifetime, and the 1,001 hell, or whatever, if you will, it just was hilarious. When you have enough trauma, when you have complex PTSD, when you go through enough darkness, when you spend your life, not dark night of the soul, but dark decades of the soul in which you constantly want to die and you're in a chronically depressed state and you have very much difficulty finding any virtue or value in this middle world realm that we constantly espouse is reality. It is hilarious. Like, you get to a certain point where we fill the cup up with false evidence appearing real or shadow teacher, and you start to get comfortable with nightmares, with shadows, with false evidence appearing real. You spend enough time stewing in the darkness of your own 10,000 faces and the 10,000 faces of others. And all of a sudden, there's nothing you can see but the light back of the illusion. And so Heather Feather went through this period, however, when she was diagnosed, as I was laughing at the mountain, where I did not want to share the diagnosis with anyone. I didn't really intend to. I didn't want to share information about this. I didn't want to do videos on it. I just wanted it to be my experience, because this is the hell to me that has become the blooming garden where I recognize the compost that is present, that needs to be present in order for my garden to bloom forth more of what I want. It is the opportunity for me to experience all the medicine I've put in my cup. And it, to me, is a tremendous grace. I'm not mad at cancer. I'm not fighting with it. I thank my tumor. I let it know it's time to go. I laugh often at it. I find it hilarious as somebody who's wanted to exit. It's like, touche, God, touche. You know, Spirit's like, we can take you out if you want. It's like, okay, touche, let me focus up. You know what I mean? And it's super funny to me. And initially, I didn't want to share it. I didn't want people's pity. I didn't want people to tell me to fight it. I didn't want people to feel that I need help and assistance. I've done so much of this life alone, in rooms and conversations with people, being a ghost, you know, in my own home, being alone in order to calibrate my frequency and get regulated. Because many times I'm in a room where my consciousness and my message is not received. And that's okay. You don't have to receive me. You don't have to understand me. You don't have to like me. I'm not really attached to what you're doing. You're doing your own evolutionary journey, and I'm doing mine. But in my evolutionary journey, Heather Feather views her consciousness as a sack of opinions and views your consciousness as a sack of opinions. Holding the truth is a tricky thing to say that you do. And so I had this dawning realization of like, oh my God, for the past 5 decades, I have progressively chosen again and again and again to surround myself with greater medicines, greater, clarity of consciousness. And I've started sharing this because I realized, like, oh, I'm letting false evidence appearing real or letting fear sit in the temple, that if I share my story, I'm going to have to continue to experience consciousness that is not a match to where I stand. I am an INFJ, which is 1% to 2% of the population. I'm a 29-11-2 life path, which is 7% of the population. I am neurodivergent, which is 15% to 20% of the population. None of that to say that I'm special. All of that to say that my message might be a little divergent. And in my experience, it often is, and is often difficult to hear. Heather Feather, having had a difficult time in middle world or earth school or holographic reflection of consciousness in the belief of separation school, has spent a lot of her time in the upper world, the unification, the atonement, the communion of not stewing in separation. I have never been a YOLOer. I do not believe you live only one time. I believe every single one of us have been every culture. We have been every gender. We have been every sexual expression. We get to be it all. We all have experienced having lack of sight, having lack of hearing, having all these different and divergent ways that we can express physicality in a dream of separation, which is what I believe this quote unquote reality is. It's the delusion of separation from our source, which cannot occur. We are at home in our eternality. And that's why middle world can be such a challenging place to be, because it is the place in which we believe we can separate from our source, which can never be true, but we can become mired in that message and in that perspective, and we can infinitely share it with others, you know? And so there's a couple of lyrics that have been rolling through my head this past week or two. It's like from Prof, I don't think like you do, I'm too different, boo-boo. Or from Aesop Rock, I'd be on some other shit, if you pardon my French, you know? Those two things have just been playing out in my head, not because I'm special, but because my soul is recognizing how often Heather Feather's message needs to be thrown away in a trash can, because what it actually does is activate perceptions that are often not present. What Heather spent her life doing is questioning herself. When I ask a question, when I state an opinion as a fact, do I in fact know what's going on? As I've said, I'm not a YOLOer. I don't believe you only live once. I believe the resurrection of Christ was an exemplification that you cannot live in two worlds at once. You are eternal. You're pretending death is real, which is not true for eternality, and that you will continue to resurrect into the dream of separation, of the delusion of the fact that you can die and you can have all these problems. But in truth, you're at all times at home spiritually. And you can also resurrect into the true world, right? And so that's how Heather Feather has received that message. But in receiving that message, as somebody that believes that we get to be all the cultures, we get to be all the genders, we get to be all the sexual expressions, we get to be all the things, I do believe, as Mama Mackey used to say, a lie will always die and the truth will always be known. It's part of why the golden rule is present globally. Nearly all cultures have a construct of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because it's possible that you have walked in their shoes. And so is there any message, any way you are espousing separation and superiority to your kin, to your brethren this day? I believe evolution and enlightenment occurs when we understand that we are in a sea of atomic oneness, and I am literally one with all beings. That we are in a sea of collective consciousness, and I am literally stewing and steeped in the influence that you are and the dream and influence that I am as I play separate along with you from our source. And, you know, in this past year or two, I had an experience where I dated a man for 5 months. I noticed that he would argue about every 2 weeks, and it was just a rhythm I didn't want to be in. Heather has no interest in fighting with anyone else ever again for the rest of her life. I'm not interested in arguing with you. I don't need you to understand my perspective. I don't really care if you hear me or see me, you know what I mean? I sometimes prefer not to be seen and heard, even though this is the work I came to do. And that's my own work just doing, you know, but this individual, when I was dating him, I broke up with him because I didn't enjoy this pattern. And when I broke up with him, he was already dating someone else at work. There was a point at which he forgot his lunch, and I volunteered to bring it to him, and he did not want me to bring his lunch up at work because he was messing around with someone at his work. And I'm not here to judge that, and I'm not here to attack other people's evolution work. I'm not above evolution. Heather's doing her own evolution work. It's a strong message in my life. I'm not here to judge other people's evolution. I trust you to recognize you're at home like I will do. However, what happened is his new woman eventually moved in with him. And although once we broke up, I was never not only physical with him again, but ever communicating with him in any way other than in relationship to us sharing a space that our cats go into, his new girlfriend, as soon as she moved in, I told my shamanic friend, I feel jealousy has entered my temple space. Jealousy is present. It's weird. And what came to pass in my looking glass in the past year or two is this two-legged, having a partner that cheated on me and cheated on her, decided to continuously pretend like I'm the problem. This often occurs, where the message people receive when someone betrays them, when someone does something against the life of them and the joy of them, they go and project it onto someone else because they refuse to accept the true challenge maker in their life. And so this being, I never have ever wished ill on her. I have seen in the field that she has definitely wished ill on me. And I prayed for her grace and blessings and ease as she tastes the fruits of that, because I am deeply, deeply spiritually protected and shielded. But it's like Heather Feather is not going to let the message of this two-legged needing to vilify me become the fruit I chew on that causes me to need to go back and vilify her. Is there any way you are choosing a message of attacking the all? Attacking what the Creator created if you choose to believe in one? Why are you doing that? You can join us this August for the Lionsgate portal. Go to rarebirdmedicine.com and click on the classes link if you'd like to change your mind. Amun.